Hello there. I am Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper, coming to you once again. This is a pretty interesting topic, and this was a suggestion by one of my followers, our fam, on YouTube, and I thought it was very interesting. And they was asking me what happened when two empaths get together. Well, I wanted to make it even more interesting. What happens when two empaths, and let's put it on the regular level, and then let's go to the super level, meet after being with a narcissist? What is that like? A narcissist with the empath is a narcissist that celebrate, because a narcissist, a super empath, can be very challenging to a lower level narcissist, but a greater narcissist with a super empath is of equal measure. And the super empath is very skilled at this point, because a super empath is not the title of an empath who's just empathic. A super empath is the title of a skilled empath, excuse me. And a skilled empath has been through a few rumbles. They've been through a few storms. They done had relationship, probably at different level with different levels of narcissists. And also, we forget that an empath, you have to be able to draw them in. Just because they empathic doesn't mean that you can conquer their emotion. A super empath is very discerning, and you have to have some qualifications for them. They done been through a lot. They're growner. They are more mature, not growner. They're more mature in their behavior. They're more skilled in the knowledge of themselves. They pretty much know themselves. They know what they like. They know what they don't like. And what they don't like at this point, you'll find a super empath does not like a lot of foolishness. They're right to the point. They're very focused. They're very intentional. They know what they want, and they know what they have to give into that situation. A narcissist know that a super empath has super fuel. Their fuel is copious. They give astronomical fuel, and they give a surmountable amount of fuel, because the level of their ranking order is the level of attention that you're going to get from them, and the level of focus that you can pull from them. When you become the project of a super empath, that's the level that they give themselves to you. And because a narcissist is synergistic, and they're self-operated, self-motivated, and everything is centered around to and for them. The empath, once the empath, the super empath, makes the decision to give themselves to their narcissist, because you got to remember, they can pretty much pick up on you. Some narcissists have become skilled in the arena of gray rock, and we think that only that supply gray rock, but you got to remember, the narcissist can't give certain emotions anyway. And so what the fictitiousness of their emotions, they even pull that back, because they're going into a training dependent mode. They need you to be dependent on them. And the super empath, although they are skilled, although they are qualified to discern, they are still very emotional. They're highly sensitive beings. So you can pull them in once they let their guards down, once they allow their shields down. You can pull their emotions in. And what happened is, once an empath or a super empath, and we're going to talk about both, have went through the trauma of a narcissist, and they reach the point of being done, usually the younger empath is almost to the brink. Some of them have went over the edge because of the narcissist abuse, especially if it's a narcissist out of rank, and they don't care if that empath is young. That is even more appealing to them, because they go into a crushing mode, and their intention is to crush that empath to the point of non-functionality. And how you do that, you cause them, you gaslight them, so until they lose it, they start going into insecurity modes. They start going into blaming mode. They start seeing what else they can do until you strip them of who they are, and they haven't been around their own where they can learn who they are. So usually the younger empaths can be wiped out by a high-ranking narcissist, or they can be could be a competitive field with a lower-ranking narcissist. And if the empath has been already traumatized from growing up in their family, neutralized in their emotions, but yet they're still feeling and they don't know who they are, this can be a devastating situation also with these. And so the narcissist discard the empath, and the empath now wants to be loved. Let's go to the lower ranking empath. The lower ranking empath wants to be loved. She or he meet another empathic person where they are very discerning, they're very sensitive. Well, guess what? They're going to be sensitive to each other. So it's two positive magnets that have similar traits, and they're meeting each other. They feel love for each other. They feel care for each other. They feel understanding for each other, to the point where they're meeting each other's needs because of the sensitivity and because the level of understanding the vibes or the frequencies being given off each other. And this can be a blessing, but it can also be a head-butting situation, because sometimes they predetermine with each other. And when they're predetermined with each other and they're meeting it, it can take the curiosity out, because you know what they're thinking. They know what you're thinking. Now, when you get a super empath with a young empath, the young empath will grow in maturity from the super empath. Let's put man and woman. Let's say the female is the younger empath. The male is the older empath. They go into a love mode, but the older empath go immediately into train mode, where they feel like training the young empath. They're very sensitive to the young empath, that sometimes they cross over and they feel like a parent instead of a lover, or they feel like a parent instead of married. And so they have to fight, because the older empath is perceiving the young empath. They perceive their insecurity, and the empath does not know yet how not to inhabit or engraft or absorb all their surrounding. So they absorb their surrounding because they think that's discerning their surrounding. They haven't learned that they don't have to absorb. They can actually choose what they allow their emotions, what they allow their emotions to go into. So the regular empath, with this empath, they lean on, instead of just discerning that super empath, they start leaning and really becoming codependent on that super empath, because the super empath seem to know things before they can release it, before they can say it. And then the super empath goes to cater to that young empath. And especially if that super empath has never been in a narcissistic relationship, but have been in regular relationships and empathic relationship, they grow. Now, when they've been in a narcissist relationship, that empath more than likely, that empath has more than likely have been supernova if they got out, even if they discarded, because a narcissist is not going to be satisfied until they've driven that empath to the point of breaking. Well, they're not going, 9 times out of 10, that empath is not going to let you break them. Before you break them, boom, they go supernova. Supernova is a force. Now, when an empath goes supernova, they look like a narcissist. They act like a narcissist, but inside it hurts them, but it's not going to hurt them enough not to do it. They will do it, and then they will go into a mode of feeling bad with what they did. An empath would never say, "You rotten scoundrel, you deserve that." And that may be true, but the empath, remember, they're super sensitive, and they're even super sensitive in the matters where they have to defect. But it won't hinder a super empath, because they're skilled. They know what they have to do, and they did it. And they have to keep themselves from feeling sorry for that narcissist, and they move on. they're able to move on because it takes so much out of the super empath to go supernova. The young empath don't go supernova. They get angry. They have outbursts. There are times when super empath can have outbursts. I don't know why people think super empath, empath are not people. They are human. They got all the emotions that you have. They operate different. They are here to serve because they have the answers. That answer is embedded in them. They have the spirit of counsel. They are people that are easily trusted. You feel good around them. You can be hurting and sad. They come around you. Many of them are exhorters. Some of them are introvert, but even the introvert have a presence about them. And the ones who don't is those who are really damaged. Those who are really damaged can go internally and they can isolate themselves because they have trust factors, because they've been so wounded. And sometimes those who are born in the house of the narcissist and he perceived that they're empathic, he drains them, and sometimes they may be the child that's the only person in the house of empathic, or they may be an extenuation of the mom or extenuation of the dad. So a lot of times the narcissist will go after that extension to punish the mom or to punish the dad. And so this abuse is that when you get an empath that is abused that meet another empath, there's trust issues. And so sometimes they're bumping heads because the empath has learned not to trust. And so they don't open up as easily. They're introverts. But another empath that's not a super empath tries to get them to open, tries to get them to feel safe, tried to get them to open up and to recognize that this is a safe place. It's not a narcissistic place. It's a safe place. And then that empath that's given their emotions over to the wounded empath, all of a sudden they feel drained because it's taken a lot to get this empath to unlock their emotions, to unlock their trust, to unlock their love, to unlock their help. And they made a vow not helping anyone. And they are miserable because they're designed in earth to be helpers, to be liberators, to free people, to help heal people, to help them get into advancement. That empath is a helper. They want to see you go forth. They want to see you flourish. They want to see you expand. They want your good. That's why when you get one and they're a friend, they usually don't have a problem with you going forth. That's what they do. And that's why people love them. They're usually not jealous of your success. They're not, how can I say, sabotagers. And they don't betray you. They are loyalists. They would rather back off from you, go into themselves, and leave you totally alone and let them, and just so they can figure out themselves. So another empath that goes in to love that empath, if they don't know who they are, that empath can be just as draining as a narcissist, but in a different way. In a way that they don't go after to hurt you. They just is almost like gray rock. They don't show themselves because they're afraid if they're not free to do it. And the empath with wisdom and endurance can help that empath get over a lot of things. So the super empath that grows in love with a younger empath may feel that mothering, fathering figure, and they feel like they have to give. But the one thing about a super empath, everyone has to be fed on their level. Everyone has to be ministered to on their level, or they will start to drain out. They will start to dissipate in what they know. They will still emit the love, they emit the empathy. But what happens is in the emittance of it, there's no one to feed them on that level. And so what happened is the empath will start losing vigor. They will start losing power. And they would even go on the hunt to see who they can help because they're trying to get strength. They're trying to recoil who they are. They're trying to recoil their knowledge because every super empath has to be fed on that level. And some of them, the younger empath requires so much, especially if they've been in a narcissistic abuse. And then the super empath who understand what that means. And you can take so much until the super empath can feel the draining. And if they've been with a narcissist, you are draining them that remind them of a narcissist. And that spark start to happen where they back off because they don't want to go supernova on another empath, because the empath is draining, won't get up, think about their past, won't move forward, even though they have it. You just think that you open the door, boom, they go back in with insecurity because they are so full of giving. They're so full of emotions. And the super empath then start feeling guilty because they know that doesn't mean just because they went internal, just because they went inside themselves. And they don't go inside themselves to lose themselves. They go inside themselves to protect themselves. And then eventually someone comes in their life to bring them out, or they grow emotionally, psychologically, and they come out. And they're a little more discerning about who they connect with. And so this young empath start to slowly come out, start to slowly open up, and the love and the bonding and the devotion. And you would get that once they connect, usually empaths are long-term relationship. They just don't connect. And you got this fly by night because they're loyalists. They're faithful, and they are faithful to each other if they grow into each other. And they are anticipatory of each other's emotions, each other's needs. So they cater to that without bumping head, and they can feel when the friction comes, and they will alter behavior modes. They will alter thinking modes just to meet the need of each other. And when they have children, they both love the children. They pour love on the children. And because you got two empaths, they have to balance the way they give, or they usually have spoiled kids. And these kids end up being the opposite of who they are because they unspoil them and they just a mess. You know, they want everything like they want it, almost like the narcissist. And sometimes the empath can bring that out by making these children the golden children instead of balancing, because they're perceptive of what they need. They want to make sure that they are happy, and the empath is geared in on your happiness. The super empath is such an astounding creature. I can talk about them all day because they are really, really powerful. And that's why when you get a super empath that go into the realm of witchcraft and sorcery, it can be something because they are committed to tasks. If you get an empath that's a doctor or a lawyer, they are committed to tasks. If you get one that are ministers, and and especially ministry, humanitarian feats, where they community activists. I mean, they really, really care. And once they get a project, they don't back down. These super empaths are like bulldogs. They will fight in court until they win. And so this is why the narcissists love them so, because they cater with everything they got. And there's sometimes the narcissist can win. Don't ever underestimate a narcissist just because you are super empath. Because you got some greater narcissist, baby, they'll bring you down to size because you still feel, you still care, and you have to go supernova. And when you go supernova, it take you time to recuperate. You don't go supernova and the next day you okay. So all these people who say they're going supernova every week, that's not supernova. You just angry, or you're having those temper tantrums and you don't know what to do, and you feel frustrated and you feel caved in, so you blast out and you think that's supernova. No, supernova is when all of the energy that the super empath channel in their cellular structure, their mind is made up different, and the energy comes out of them and it moves things. They have been tests when an empath went supernova, and their anger was so vicious until things moved in the room. The energy moved things around, and they really have to pull themselves in. And those of you that are Christians, what you have is the fruit of the Spirit. You have the Holy Spirit that will temper that anger. The Bible said that a man that is quick to anger is foolish, because when you get anger, you don't think right, you don't perceive right, you don't acknowledge right. You are channeling all that energy into a mold of vengeance, to a mold of setting things in order. When a super empath goes supernova, they usually set things in order. So when they are married to a narcissist, sometimes they super empath will go to a family member house. The house is too filled with energy, and they can't do it. They can't function in that environment. That's when empaths start to break, when they have no release. They win supernova, but the same energy that you release in the atmosphere, you got to remember you are in that atmosphere too. And energy is energy. And energy has no discretion. Once it's released, that energy doesn't say I came from the empath, so I'm getting ready to touch everything but the empath. You got to learn to even deal with your release, because it's in the atmosphere. And what is released from the empath is felt in the atmosphere, and everybody in their vicinity can feel it. And once people of a new empath go supernova on the job, most people are very careful the next time they deal with them. They're very straightforward. Sometimes they cannot use tact, because when supernova come, they could care less about your feelings. It ain't about feelings, because if they did, they wouldn't go supernova. They will pull it back. The cost of that is tremendous. And the super and the greater narcissist, or the master narcissist, knows that. And he usually let them go, and he go right in for the juggler, because they are having to get themselves together. And I had one girl say, well, it must be the money, because God does not de-energize you. When you walk in the anointing, Jesus said to the woman who touched the hem of his garment, who touched me, because virtue has left my body. When you go supernova, virtue leaves you. No, you can have virtue leave, and that means life has to be put back in you. That's why Jesus will go to the mountain to pray. Other religions will go somewhere and meditate. They will go and get the retention and go and get back what they release out. And the narcissists who skill go for the juggler, and sometimes they will actually invoke you to go supernova, because they want to attack. It is painful for them, but they endure that pain to get that fuel at that level. And when they go in and they drain you, it takes you a minute to resuscitate, and they belittle you, and they love that reaction because they wounded you. A lot of super empaths that have got caught in a vulnerable place, they usually, those that can, let me put it like that, they get up and leave. They're out of there. You know, when the supply set is enough, enough is enough. That video is for those who done said, you know, done, hands clean. Go to that video and listen to that video. 2 empaths are very perceptive. 2 empaths are very caring. 2 empaths are very magnetic. 2 empaths give to each other. They want each other good. But what they got to do is, when you get 2 atoms of the same, boom, they clash. Well, the empath learn not to clash, because remember, they care about other people's feelings. But because they keep perceiving each other, you know, it can be almost take the thrill of life away until they learn how to deal. A super empath with a regular person, they love it. They get addicted to a super empath just like they get addicted to a narcissist, except it is a more memorable, a more comfortable, a more loving relationship. And they are so deep involved in their relationship until people who have never been loved and they used to abuse will usually grow weary with the empath and think the empath is smothering them. And what the empath is very sensitive and understanding them. And usually years later or down the road, they'll realize what they had in their empath, and they will go back. When the empath is done, they close the door. They'll finish. A super empath, for sure, when a super empath closes the door, story. You can do whatever you want to do. They are not coming back, because supernova is not hard just on the body. It's hard on the mind. It's hard on their perception. It's hard on their perspective. It's hard on their ideology. It's hard everywhere they go. And I'm telling you, if you ever get a friend with a super empath, you have a friend indeed. It is not known where empath go and stab you in your back. Come on. That's not what it, they will feel guilty. They will feel horrible, but it is that they can have outbursts. They can have panic attack. They can do all of that. Empath, you can, the narcissist, some narcissists have beat and won over some super empath who did not follow what they knew they should follow of getting out of there. Or they went supernova and they went into a place where they couldn't resuscitate, and he came in for the juggler. But there are some super empaths that are narcissists will never, ever, as long as they live and breathe, forget that experience with a super empath. And once an empath goes supernova, a lot of times the narcissists by revenge look for another to make them pay for the one that wounded them. But more often than not, they don't want to deal with another super empath because they got wounded so bad. They almost got shredded in their mind, in their intent, and they feel defeat, especially when they have so many fears already, and the empath pick that up. And so what the narcissist try to do is gray rock or become android type around the super empath, and we call that ghosting, where they disappear even in the midst of you. They ghost you. Sometimes they ghost you staying there, and you can't sense it. And because they don't love, sometimes they can deceive the empath. And what I mean by deceive the empath, they're trying to tap into something that is not working. Love don't work for them. Deception does. It's fictitious love. It's not real love, where the empath has real, genuine concern and real, genuine love. Two empaths can make it together, but they have to work on it because it's two positive magnets bumping. And what they got to do, they have to find the parallel flow that meets in the end. It is possible, and this is part one. And later down the line, I'm going to be coming back at part two. But remember, I dealt with this with two empaths that has been in a narcissistic relationship, has been abused, or one has been in a narcissistic relationship, and maybe the other one have not. And then this becomes systemic. The relationship becomes a system of operation. And once they join together, it is a beautiful experience. And most people who ever seen two empaths together, it will make you want to love. It will make you want an empath because they are faithful and they are genuine. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that this has been an encouragement to you empath. You can find love once you have been discarded by an abusive, inconsiderate narcissist. It's not over. Don't be afraid to love another empath because they know and they will understand. Two empaths that's been abused have to work out a system of trust. And what you have to do is go to the trust arena when you have two empaths that have been wounded, because what you have to deal with is the wound. You have to always deal with where you've been hurt. You have to always deal with where you were wounded, because what you leave alone without healing, it fester later down the line and is in worse condition because it becomes infectious. So deal with the hurt. When you have an empath, they're very sensitive. They're very perceptive. Grab moments where you can talk to each other, and only one at a time can talk. And it'll be an emotional place because you sense their hurt. And then sometimes they trigger you because their story becomes your feelings, and it triggers you into those feelings. All triggers are not bad. When you get triggered, don't run from the trigger. Let the trigger be the medicine that you need to help you heal, because talking about it is releasing it out. Seeing it It's understanding it. And two empaths can be very, very therapeutic to one another because it's like the counselor and the counselee. You take turns hearing each other. Go to a certain place in your house, and that is the place of resolve. You can never argue in that place. In this place, we're here to talk. And once one talk, you put a timer because an empath can talk about it. No, you give each other, you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a long time to talk. 3 to 5 minutes. And once that clock goes off, your time is up no matter where you are in the story. And you can never walk away. You always have to end at a place. Even if you end in disagreement, you must end at a place. And this is a certain place in the house, a certain place at the park, a certain place at the phone. You say, okay, this is our place, and we're talking on the phone. Put your timer on, and you have to respect one another. And the one thing about having a relationship with the empath is going to be there. These are faithful. If you ever want to see loyalty, you must see an empath. They put another definition to loyalty, and that's why the narcissists love them, because many of them don't know how to leave. They know how to resolve, and when they leave out of something without getting the final resolution that they expect, they feel like they have failed. And that's why super empath training module, when you meet one, you should count yourself gifted, because they can train you, they can help you understand you, and they will love you, and they're very, very excellent protectors. They make very great guardians. They would take you, and the thing is, a super empath always want your good. They always want another empath to make it. The younger empath have to learn. Don't ever get so prideful until you don't learn. When you learn a few techniques, don't get caught in the techniques. Get caught in the purpose of why they are there. Respect a super empath, because you are gifted. It's hardly ever you will meet them, because they are usually occupied. They're usually busy. They're usually serving. You're not going to see a super empath laying around, because they understand their mission, and they are so invasive until society, life, and the mission pulls on them, and they are ready. That's why a narcissist, hardly ever a narcissist will break them. They leave before you break. It's hardly ever. Many people think narcissists go around breaking up these empaths. They can break up a lot of empaths, but they ain't gonna break up a super empath. Why? That's why they call them super. And young empath, just because you're empathic and you're young, stop calling yourself super when you're ignorant of who you are. Learn who you are. You are very powerful creatures, and God knew what he was doing when he put you in the earth. You are so admired. You are so wanted until people crave you, because you taught them loyalty. You taught them love. You taught them wanting someone to want their good. And when you meet a super empath, you know it, because you almost feel the trainer come out of them. And they've discerned you. They know where you are. And they seem to have the right words at the right time. And they will not put up with your foolishness. They will train you in your module. They will train you in your skill. They will train you in your person. And they will bring out your authentic self. I want to welcome all of the super empath. I want to tell you, you are so wonderful. And I thank God for you, super empath, that God has placed you on the earth with the gift of mercy and the gift of grace in different measures, and that we train the young empath. Young empath, you are powerfully being matured, sculptured, designed into your purpose, and one day you will make an indentation in different lives that will never be forgotten. They will progress, and they will do better, be better, because you were in their lives. I hope this video has really helped you. I want you to write me at destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. Leave your comment at the bottom. Let me know what you think about this video. And those of you who want sessions, I do Zoom sessions, and I do audio sections. There is a different price for each, but you can talk about it. You can call me and we can talk about what works for you. And I want to thank you for those that I have had sessions with, to see you growing, to see you maturing. Oh my God, it's so awesome to see your beauty. So super empath that's been wounded, you don't have to stay there. We can get your trust factor back. We can build you and we can strengthen you. You have been designed for greatness. All of you under the sound of my voice, let's do your authentic self. It has been hidden in the midst of pain and trauma, but it's not over for you. So write me, Destiny Helper 12S at gmail.com. Destiny Helper 12S at gmail.com. Leave your information on that email. When you write, make sure I have your number, and I would expect a call, and you and I can set up the great things that are going to happen in your life, that you can see it and walk in it. Once again, do you have to be a super empath to call, or empath? No. If you've been involved with a narcissist relationship, please feel free to call me. I am there to help you. I bring 31 years to the table, and I'm telling you, you're going to be astoundingly blessed and amazingly matured, and you'll be able to grow in what you thought you was tortured in, and you'll be able, some of you, to go to freedom in areas that you thought you would never leave. You would never be in bondage, and the wounds and the hurts that you sustain, you don't have to stay in a place and die when you can live life, because it's huge, it's big, and it's calling your name. So write me once again, Destiny Helper 12S at gmail.com. And I want you to like and share this page. Share it with as many people as you can. And subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't leave. If you listen to this video, once it goes off, once you leave this video, hit that bell and get this and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are many, many people with my YouTube channel. And also, I am doing a partnership. You can write me, Destiny Helper 12S. I'm going to tell you about the partnership. The partnership get different things that others don't get. So I want you to write me, Destiny Helper 12S at gmail.com. And let's talk about it. Super empath, you are amazing. When you look at yourself, love yourself first. That's who you are. You're the first love coming through after God. And God made you so you can be so much power in the lives of other people. And you can get the gratification of seeing them succeed. I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. God bless you.